here. But when I was learning animation, my goal was to learn animation. That's what I wanted to do. That's the career I wanted. And I wanted to get there as quickly as I could. I didn't want to rush it, but I didn't want to delay it that much. So, as I was working on that, I also love to do other things. I love drawing, even though I'm not great at it. I love sculpting. I love analyzing film. I love cinematography, that kind of stuff. I love photography as well. So, as I was going through, I started focusing on skills that would help me in my animation. So, of all those things that I like to do, which ones would actually help me animate better and faster? Well, drawing. Drawing is going to be super helpful because I can plan things out better. I can draw thumbnails. I can do 2D animatics. Definitely, I wanted to do that. Sculpting. Not really helpful in animation, as much as I do love to do it. At the time, I didn't put any focus on there because it's not going to help me get to where I want to be. I can learn that later. As hard as it is, I put that to the side so that I can focus on what I really wanted to learn. Photography. Well, photography is another form of cinematography. How do you put and frame something up to tell a story? Well, that goes straight into animation. If I know how to use a camera correctly, if I know what lens length to use to get a specific feeling, if I know how to position the camera to make a shot more dynamic versus just boring and flat, that's going to help every single shot that I ever animate. So I dove into photography a little bit. And actually, I have some examples here. I wonder if I can find them. These were examples of, or these were tests that I did while I was a student at Animation Mentor. Just trying to push my photography skills. And I'm just going to take a sip of water here because my throat is dying. Okay. Trying to remember which folder it's in. These files are very old at this point. So going through all of those skills, what do you want to learn? Try to find the things that are actually going to help you, that are going to make it easier for you to make your animations better. And then that way you're not having to fight all of these different things, just trying to improve, and they're all kind of fighting against each other. And A to the J, always with the links there. So here were some of the images that I took. So let's start with, let's just open this one. So this is a toy I had, just a figure. As you can see, I've got a lot of those. So I just took this figure and like, how do I frame this up to make it interesting and dynamic? How can I shoot this in a way that makes it not just a toy on a shelf, but feel real, feel like there's character to it? Let's see. It's a really cool toy. Like the eyes are actually toy. It's a posable figure. The eyes are actually made out of glass, so you get the shine in them. It's really cool. So once again, just trying to tell a story in a chessboard right here. How do I layer the foreground elements versus the background elements? This one, not my favorite. This was a little wood carving that I had. It kind of turned out very flat, and you can see that. This is something that is a good learning experience. When I took this, I just couldn't get it to feel interesting and dynamic. Why? Well, everything's flat. Everything is just there. There's no depth. There's no foreground elements. There's kind of a background, but it's super hazy. It's just not that interesting. Is it bad? It's not great, but it's not terrible. But compared to something like this, where you have that one figure here, which is much closer, then you have the background almost, there's depth and there's interest in there. And then we also Tamara and I worked together for these. We worked to try and figure out how do all the angles bring your attention to the thing you want to focus on. And my camera just died. No, I've been going for too long. It's only been 2 hours. What the heck, camera? To be fair, like I said, I've been working since 2 a.m. So I've been in a lot of meetings. Come on, camera, come back. Come back, camera. It's gonna come back. Okay. If it dies again, I'll just turn it off and we'll leave it off for a while. So we have this one. This is another one that I feel wasn't really successful. This, as I look at it now, especially, the problem here is that there's no focus. Where do your eyes go on this? Everywhere. It's got these bright blue dice and whatnot all over the place. There's this green goblin thing in the background that draws your attention. There's this really detailed axe on the side that's really focused and in high quality. Like, it's all in focus. There's this lamp back here. There's weird colors in the back. There's text over here. There's too much to focus on. So nothing stands out. What I needed to do, or what I should have done, let's see. Let me actually bring this in here. I should have reframed it. Something more like this. So now that axe is kind of offset in the background. It's not the main focus. And suddenly the blue wraps around right here, brings our attention through and into the dragon because everything's kind of pointing in this direction here. Suddenly that's a better composition just by doing that. Does it fix everything? No, because now we have this weird like thing over here still, but it does make it better. So this is where learning this composition skills can be super helpful. And you can do this just with any camera, even your phone camera. A lot of phone cameras nowadays, you can go in and really adjust a lot of settings in there. So we had this one. This one I feel worked much better. So just the lines and the depth of the image just feels more dynamic than just a flat image. This one here, this one works fairly well, but again, I feel like the focus is too split between Mario, Luigi, and Bowser. It's just, I almost feel like it would have been more successful without those figures. Just the Super Nintendo and maybe one figure right in there is just bouncing around too much. This one I feel works really well. I especially like just how the lens, you can see the distortion in there. So that one worked really well. I also like the lighting quite a bit. This one as well. That one was a really nice one I like. So yeah, those were some of the pictures that I took, and it's just trying to tell a story. How can I frame up something to be interesting? So again, going back to that, like wanting to rig and wanting to sculpt and all of that stuff, it's okay to branch out. That's nothing wrong with it. I know a little bit of rigging. I know lighting, rendering. I'm a generalist. I know a little bit of everything. And that's because and my camera, no! Okay, I'm gonna have to turn my camera off for a little bit. Let it charge up a bit. I think the battery's just dying. It was overused today. So let's see, what can I show on screen here? There we go. We'll show a pose there. There we go, full screen. So yeah, when you're trying to push yourself to have a goal, let's say you want to learn animation, it's okay to learn other things. But if you really want to enhance your learning and just kind of really get there as quick as possible, focus on the things that are going to help you. and are going to complement what you're trying to learn.